Welcome to And Know, where we can discover God's Word together. And Know is taken from the verse found in Psalm 46. Be still and know that I am God. Being still actually takes a lot of patience and energy. Every day we hustle from here to there. So let's challenge ourselves to take just a moment to be still and see where God might lead us today.
Welcome to episode 5 of the And Know podcast. Christmas is upon us, and it would feel somewhat wrong to not have an episode that would focus on something Christmas. Don't worry, if you're listening at a later date and it's nowhere near Christmas, hopefully with warmer temperatures than we're experiencing today, it is still a good one. One of the best things about rereading familiar Bible stories is that you can gain new insight. Depending on our current life circumstances or our faith journey, we might focus in on certain things that we might not have paid attention to in the past. For me this year, it's the manger. I'm not sure why this simple item stood out more than all the rest, but here's where my heart is today. To quickly recap, Mary and Joseph are required to leave their home in Nazareth and make their way to Bethlehem. There is a census that has been issued by the Roman government, and skipping it is not an option. When I was pregnant with my first, I didn't move. I was so scared that something would happen to her, so I barely vacuumed. And if you know me, that's a big deal. I cannot fathom being pregnant for the first time and having to leave my home by foot, walking for at least 4 days, for at least 8 hours each day, because that's how long it would have taken them. The Bible doesn't mention if they arrived by a donkey, but even if she had a little help, is it really help if she's sitting on a donkey and really, really pregnant? I think not. Anywho, they arrive in Bethlehem and, surprise, surprise, it's absolutely packed. Luke 1 verse 3 states this in the best possible way. And everyone went to their own town to register. Not just a select few people, but everyone went to their own town. Unless one had family in that town, you would have had to stay in some sort of lodging. But in Bethlehem, there is no space, none at all. Luke 1 verse 7 says, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no guest room available for them. That's it. That is the birth story of Jesus. One verse. Have you met any new mom and asked her birth story and have it said within one sentence? I love a good story and I love telling a good story. Give me some room to share my birth stories. We could be talking for hours. But all we get here is one simple verse. And she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. And she wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there is no guest room available for them. I often wish the Bible would give us just a bit more information, especially on these well-known stories, or maybe a snippet of a conversation just to give us some perspective. Imagine, just for a moment, that you are Joseph. Mary is uber pregnant. No one has room for you. And then Mary says, it's time. They are far from home, no place to call anything a temporary home, and one of their biggest moments has arrived, the birth of their son. Were they calm? Was only one of them calm? Did they experience the kindness of strangers? Oh, we just don't know. And there's probably a good reason for that. We know God is with them, and any other info would just distract us on what the real purpose is. Jesus is coming. There is just a bit of info, though, on this incredible story. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no guest room available. Remember that Bethlehem is packed, and there are a lot of people searching for a place to stay. All the Bible verse tells us is that there is no room, and that's why Jesus is placed in a manger. To give some perspective, a manger would have been a wooden box or a hollowed out stone where animals would have eaten out of, like a trough. We don't know if this manger belonged to a lodging place or if it was somewhere in a cave. What we do know is that Mary and Joseph needed to find a place ASAP, and they found a solution. It just doesn't seem like the ideal place Jesus should have been born in. Or is it? The very first visitors Mary and Joseph and Jesus get are shepherds. Luke 1, verse 16. So they hurried off and found Mary and Joseph and the baby who was lying in the manger. Where would the shepherds have felt the most comfortable? Near a manger. Right from the very beginning of Jesus' story, he meets people exactly where they are. And what happens next? Luke 1, verses 17 and 18. When they had seen him, they spread the word concerning what had been told them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said to them. These simple people who would have often been overlooked by anyone with any kind of status, became the very first to share Jesus' story. And know this, Jesus will meet you right where you are. There is no checklist you need to master or good behavior streak that needs to be accomplished. The angels told the shepherds first, and that's no accident. The fact that Jesus' bassinet was a manger gives us all the very encouragement we need. Jesus came for each and every one of us, and I hope that brings you great comfort and joy as you continue to discover how much you are loved.